while you do that, I'm gonna start doing like what's the Vogue thing?
Vogue, Madonna, strike a pose.
What's up, everybody?
It says live, see?
It says live, and
Now
we
I
are live.
understand. We are very live. This is a very yellow room we're in. We're in a different location. Room. Yeah, no kidding. We're in our children's classroom. It used to be my sewing and crafting room until the end of the world came around and determined that our kids should go to school at home while we work from home. That's not difficult. I'm sure nobody else is dealing with that, right?
Nope.
No, nobody else. So we are coming to you from our kids' school desk where they are going to start virtual school next week.
It's probably the best office in the house.
Right. Why do they get the good, like, oh, it's because your stuff isn't in here cluttering it up.
Yeah, probably.
That's why. It's because they don't clutter the way that you clutter. Hi.
Yep. Hi, baby.
What's going on?
So.
Talk about it Tuesday.
Talk about it Tuesday.
We are here to talk about it.
Jerry and Rachel Niesman.
Jerry, Rachel. We are here to...
The Niesman team at Keller Williams Realty. Come on, you got to do the introduction right?
Oh, we need like an order. Somebody needs to... I was gonna say somebody needs to like put it.
We don't have organization. We don't have it organized yet.
We should hire an office assistant. I think that's my job. I need to come up with like a list. How prim and proper. Hello, this is Rachel and Jerry Niesman with the Niesman team at Keller Williams Realty, Fort Myers. We are coming to you live, talking about.
No, that's boring.
Right? I mean, so like you can't have it
We're
both
not
ways.
News anchors.
I think I'd be a good. Hi, Mandy Young. Hello. I think we'd be good. I think I'd be a good news anchor. No?
Probably.
You know,
yeah.
I wanted to name our son Fox, like the animal, Fox Niesman, because it sounded like a reporter's name, like Fox Niesman.
She said it would either
coming
be
to you with sports.
A good name for a quarterback, for a starting quarterback of.
Right? Look at Trey Niesman, Fox Niesman.
The Oakland Raiders.
Now. I know.
Or a newscaster, either way.
We are the Niesman team at Keller Williams Realty Fort Myers, and we are coming to you to talk about it live on Tuesdays, and on Thursdays we do live home tours of just listed properties here in Fort Myers area-ish. And we are part 2 of a 5-week series geared towards our sellers or people thinking about selling their house. Last week, we told you...
What was last week?
The definitions of the terms seller's market and versus buyer's market. What do those terms mean? And how do you know if you're in a seller's market or buyer's market? So we did that because
a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, we're in a seller's market. So it was geared towards our sellers, people who are interested in selling their house. Because it's a seller's market, what does that mean? You can either go backwards in Jerry's feed to see that video if you're curious about it, or it's on our YouTube channel, the Niesman team, and we'll add a link at the end. If you're new to Talk About It Tuesday, we are here live. As you can tell, we have a teeny tiny little delay, I'm sure. Why is that? In case we curse?
I don't know.
But there's a little delay, but we're live. There's always a delay.
You think so?
Yeah, I watch enough YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
I watch enough live video.
I don't know.
There's a teeny tiny delay, but if you are listening to us and want to ask us more specifics about the questions, and when I say ask us about the questions, it's Ask Jerry Niesman, because he's the real estate professional with his real estate license, 10 years full-time here in Southwest Florida real estate, over 500 happy families. We love you. We adore you, all of our clients who have turned family, and I will be your voice. You can type it here in the comments, and we will ask Jerry to stop, slow down, clarify, what about this, what about that? You can ask us anything you want, and you got us captive. And so okay, so I'm curious about this, Jay. Jay says that Jerry needs to color his beard. But like, so I'm admittedly, I adore like an older gentleman, and I think he looks dashing. I adore it. Like, I almost want to like color his beard and make him gray. Like, can we do that? Can we turn him gray?
They do have gray beard color.
I think we should do that. Like, bleach it and gray it out. So yeah, I feel like your beard's getting a little bit longer.
It is.
It always
and
gets long during
I
the fall
have
and at Halloween time.
this side, this like one pure white spot. I don't know, whatever. I don't care.
He's convinced that which side? He's convinced that he goes gray on one side because of the shenanigans that I give him, and gray on the other side from the shenanigans from our kids that are shenanigan makers as well.
So you are. It's backwards in the video, so
Oh.
I can't tell. So you're the right side.
Okay.
The kids are the left side.
Okay, cool.
That's
I
why
feel like
the left side is
grayer,
grayer now
there's two of
because
them.
there's two of them, and I've now them combined had longer than you.
So let's get into the thick of it. So last week we talked about seller's market versus buyer's market. What do those mean? And what does it mean to you? And what are we in currently? So we are getting into the nitty gritty of selling your house. So we came up with today's topic of conversation is 8 questions to ask in an interview for a potential listing agent. We have a mascot. His name is Gus. He's not very nice. His name is Gus Fring from Breaking Bad because he's a nefarious criminal mastermind. But all right, so let's talk about it. Gussie, we're busy.
Is that why I want attention?
We paid our dog tax. So we have 8 questions. We've come up with 8 interview questions. I'm going to type them in here in the box as we go through them so you can read it. I'm also going to read your questions. So don't forget again, if you have comments, questions, you want us to clarify something, let us know. So as a preface, like I said, we're a full-time real estate team, 10 years, 500 clients, 500 plus clients. We know not everybody in Southwest Florida is going to list their home with us. We get it, and
although
we
you
wanna,
should,
we think you should. We think we're the best of the best of the best. But just like there's how many licensed realtors in Southwest Florida?
I don't know.
Over 5,000.
5, 6, 7, 8,000.
Yeah, we're usually north of 5,000 realtors and joined as a part of our real estate board. Varying degrees of realtors in terms of experience level. You can find people probably from 18 to 80 and everywhere in between. And when you go to pick a realtor to list your home, we hope it's the Niesman team. But thanks, Jay. We hope it's the Niesman team, but we never ever want our Facebook friends and family and clients that are on here to feel obligated to work with us just because they know us. We're confident in what we do. Not everybody loves us, our personality, our style. We kind of hang our hats on being the real talk real estate team. If you are looking for somebody to put your $200,000 home on the market for $250,000, it's not going to be us because we're very real talk about our numbers. We look at every single listing that we take as an investment because we pay for professional photography and all of our marketing and advertising expenses and stuff like that. And our goal is to get our clients' homes sold as fast as possible for as much money as possible. And yeah, so if you're thinking about listing your house, we would like to encourage you, in addition to interviewing the Niesman team with Keller Williams Realty Fort Myers, you may want to interview some other realtors or whatever. You have a family friend who wants to list your home or wants to talk to you about listing your home. And we came up with 8 questions. We're going to get started now. I'm going to start dropping them down here. 8 questions to ask a potential realtor. Are you ready to throw? First of all, Jerry, so many listing appointments. You've been interviewed hundreds of times to list somebody's house, and you almost always list their house. You almost always beat out our competition. What is the number one question everybody always asks?
Yeah, let's just knock this one out right away.
Yeah.
What's my home worth?
What is my house worth? That's what every single person. Jay, you're so sweet. Thank you. What is my house worth? That's what every single person wants to know. Jerry walks in. I've been on a few listing appointments with him. As an unlicensed assistant, I can't talk numbers or contracts, but I'm excellent at what I do, which is sometimes my expertise is needed, which is I go in and can help you. One of the questions we'll get to, but I help tell you how to fix your home up to get the most amount of money for it for as little money and effort as possible. So sometimes Jerry will bring me in to like put a creative and like third-party eye and analyze the home and say like, if you fill these nail holes or if you paint your mailbox or that kind of stuff.
Staging, decluttering,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of thing.
yeah. And so your first question is gonna be, everybody wants to know how much do they ask a realtor, how much do you think my house is worth? And that's the question. We
And that's
want to,
not the most important question to ask, but it's the question that everybody wants to know.
sure, and it's important. I mean, obviously, at some point you have to ask how much do you think I should list my house for, but what should be the real number one question? So how much is my house worth? And
So 1A is how much is my house worth? 1B would be how did you come up with that number?
right, so tell me about it. Tell us more about why realtors would find it to be a different number.
So
What's your process? How do you come up with that figure?
I look at number one, what is the market doing? And what is it doing overall? What is it doing locally? In like down to not just the city, but like the actual physical neighborhood, sometimes even down to the street or the block, because it really can change. It is that hyper local that realistically, from 2 streets away, things could be very different
Right.
for the exact same, or an almost identical home, same floor plan, built by the same builder at the same time frame, and things could be different. So we're looking at the market, and not only where is it at now, where is it coming from, and where is it going to?
Okay, cool.
Um, as well as the house itself, the specific condition, what options it has, what upgrades, what changes have you made, what updates. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that goes into it. Um, and so you have to look at all of it, and without knowing, yeah, I have talked to no I don't know how many different appraisers I've talked to at this point to ask them how they come up with numbers. So I try to look at it from the standpoint of what is an appraiser
Interesting.
going to look at, and from a buyer standpoint of what is the buyer going to look at, because the reality of the value of your home is your home is worth as much as somebody is willing to pay for it.
That's so true. Like
Now,
everything in life.
an appraiser may not agree with that number,
Okay.
because they may look at it different from the buyer. And if we're dealing with a situation where the buyer's financing, then we have to take into account what is the appraiser going to, how are they going to adjust for different things? How are they going to look at it? But the reality is, an appraiser's number is just as subjective as my number.
Sure.
And I may come up with one number, and another realtor may come up with another number, 10% different.
Sure.
And an appraiser may come up with something in between, or something completely the other direction.
Interesting.
I mean,
So yeah, it's important to understand where they're coming from. Like we said,
so basically, I would go through and break it down and show you what I've used to come up with that number.
right, comps and all of that
It's
stuff.
not comps. Nobody knows what comps is.
What is it?
Recent relevant sales.
Oh,
And
teach me your ways. I don't
and
know
in the current market, with prices increasing,
uh-huh,
uh, pending sales
are more relevant, I would imagine.
can, depending on what it is, where it is, pending sales can be more relevant than what has closed.
I mean, I would think that
Because
like
what closed went under contract 30,
right,
45, 60 days ago,
doesn't matter,
compared
right?
to, what's under contract now.
Well, and I would think that's an important question to ask a potential realtor, which is, hey, there's pending sales in my neighborhood and this market has changed so crazy over the last month or two. Have you called and spoken with any of the listing agents on those pending sales? And like to know where they went under contract, or to get, I mean, there's all sorts of ways to get the most. So listen, there's no crystal ball, right? Like I can't predict what like Mary and John are going to bid on your house on opening weekend. Nobody can. We don't have that answer. But that doesn't mean you can't do extensive outside of the box research to come up with like that number. And then real talk, like again, are they just going to say, what do you think it's worth? And sure, we'll list it there, no problem, because you're not the expert. Like, we love you, and we hope that you're excellent at your job. Every teacher that's watching, every, it doesn't matter what your career is. We hope that you love and excel at your job just the way we love and excel at our job. And find somebody who you trust when they tell you that number and how they came up with it, that it feels right to you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, number 2.
How will you market my home?
There's a B on this one too. So 2A is how will you market my home? 2B / do you hire professional photographers and videographers, or do you do it yourself? So those are all, because it's under the marketing bracket.
Okay.
I feel like it's under the marketing bracket. I feel like it's such an important question that it should, that one specifically. So talk to me about it. 2A is how will you market my home?
You're taking our 8 questions and turning it into like
10 questions.
Now it's 10. Is it gonna be 12?
Maybe I just named it the wrong thing last week. 12 questions. We'll see how many questions we come up with at the end of it.
All right.
2A.
So in terms
how will you market my home? So that
you want them to have, whoever you're talking to needs to have a full-blown marketing plan, not just, hey, we're gonna do an open house and we're gonna throw it on the MLS, because anybody can do that. Like, you can have an open house yourself and you can pay somebody a few $100s to put it in the MLS. That's not how homes get sold. Even in a seller's market, believe it or not. I still see houses every day, listings expiring, that they listed with the wrong realtor or for the wrong price or whatever happened. It didn't work, and the house has been on the market for 6 months, and the list, or a year, or however long. I saw one the other day that's been on the market 584 days.
Jeez.
Like, how does that even happen in today's market?
That sounds exhausting.
I feel like a monkey could sell a house in less than 584 days in the current market.
If you're watching us, we're friends with a lot of realtors. We apologize if that's your listing here in town.
But anyways, you need to,
and not just like, oh, I'm doing open house. Like, oh, you're doing an open house. What days of the week do you recommend to do an open house? How many hours do you do? Do you put up a sign that says, please sign in for security reasons? Do you put up, how many open house signs do you put up on the street? Do you use one? Or do you use 30? Like, do you do Facebook marketing, social media marketing? You can get into the nitty-gritty question of, correct, how do you plan to market my home? Do you use any social networking? Is your brokerage going to offer, like, we're with Keller Williams, and we really found a home at Keller Williams, and it's because we find such a good connection amongst other Keller Williams agents, where we have private Keller Williams Fort Myers, like, secret group where we can go in and talk to other KW agents here in town and be like, yo, this is coming on the market. And oftentimes we can find buyers before it even goes on the market.
But not more than 24 hours in advance.
No, never. We never advertise that. More than 24 hours in advance. We never do. Never do we ever, Mr. and Mrs. MLS watching.
Now it's illegal to market a home anywhere more than 24 hours before it's available to the public.
Yes. Oh, that, I feel like that's another, like, how up to date are you on laws and stuff like that? Because, but yeah.
So,
can we talk, and then also, can we talk about the absolute extreme importance of having professional photos and videos? Particularly now, when we live in the day of the COVID, this is being filmed. If you're watching this in 2026, God, we hope life is better. It's 2020. We're in the thick of the 6 month of the first international pandemic this century. And it's hard to put a house on the market and feel comfortable and safe. I saw, so I schedule Jerry's home tours. It's part of my job as his assistant. And I went to go look for the houses for him to tour and show you guys live on Thursdays at 4. He takes people out on virtual tours. And I literally saw it's a picture of a kitchen, and it just listed in the last 24 hours, the home for sale. and somebody's eating a slice of pizza in the picture in the kitchen. Like, you couldn't have been like, yo, Mr. Pizza Eater, can you like step and
move?
eat pizza in the
So-
dining room?
And this is one of the 4 pictures. There's only 4 pictures of this house, and one of them is a picture kind of the kitchen with a guy eating pizza in it.
And again, you're gonna find the right
And
people
how much
for
was that
you.
house? Like $380,000
It was
or
insane.
something
It was
like
absolutely
that.
crazy. It infuriates me as people who, like, again, it goes back to, you guys are great at your career, we're great at our career, we're excellent at real estate, but we're not excellent photographers. So we searched for years to find. We absolutely consider our photographer and videographer, Mark, who works with us, a part of the Niesman team, because he's part of our success. He's part of the success of us listing our homes. Right now, the Niesman team, whether it's $100,000 house or $1 million home, it doesn't matter what price range it's at. We're using our professional photographer and videographer to not just photograph and drone the home, but also do the big Zillow 3D walkthrough that you see once in a great while if you're ever on Zillow. People have where you can like click and go into each room. It costs us $600 per listing, but we don't care. It's worth it to us, in our opinion. So ask your potential listing agent, are you taking out your iPhone or your cracked up Android? And are you taking pictures of me while I change my kids' clothes after school? Or are you going to hire a professional to come in and do excellent professional photos? Because people are shopping online.
Yep.
That's where they're seeing everything right now. People aren't going, tire kicking right now. It's just not happening. What else?
So,
okay, I'm off my soapbox.
Okay.
3. What's the third
What's number
question?
3? All right. How will you vet potential buyers?
Ooh.
So,
why is that a good question?
Well, especially right now during this pandemic situation.
That's number 4.
Huh?
That's number 4. It's
talking
about the pandemic and COVID. Like, how are you keeping sellers safe? But how are you qualifying buyers?
Oh, well,
yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. But okay. So, in terms of vetting potential buyers, are they checking with with every appointment that's set and saying, are they verifying, is your buyer pre-qualified for a loan? Or are they a cash buyer and do you have proof of funds? Because that's something that most buyer's agents, well, I don't know if it's even most, but the good buyer's agents ask for and should have up front. You want that information because you want to know the people coming through your house are legit serious buyers.
Right.
You don't want tire kickers coming through the house.
Right. Well, and I feel like even things like we were saying about if you're considering selling your home and you're open to the idea of having an in-person open house, like a traditional open house, which we're allowed to do, like asking people to like sign in, name, address, email, phone number, those kinds of things, so you can follow up with them instead of it's just like, I'm gonna fling your door open and
right, just let everybody in, and,
like a free for all in your home.
You want to know who was in the house,
right?
And you, more than anything, you want your realtor to be able to follow up with those people and get feedback,
right?
Because who better to give you feedback on what you should or should not do than people actively,
right.
In terms of, do you need to make any modifications, changes to the house, anything like that? Who better than the people that are actively out looking to buy a home right now and to buy something similar to yours? So that's
4.
Number 3. Number 4 is, how have you adjusted in the COVID market, and what are you doing to keep sellers safe?
I think this is an important one.
Yeah, I mean, right now especially. Are you requiring that for showings, people, number 1, that people are able and ready to buy a home? They may not buy your home, but are they able and ready to buy a home? Number 1, which goes back to number 3. And then also, are you requiring that the buyer's agent make sure that nobody is sick, nobody's been sick,
right.
Nobody's been around anybody sick, that they're asking the pertinent questions to keep, to try and minimize the exposure to, to the virus and all that. Are they providing gloves? Are they requiring people to wear
wipes.
masks? Are they providing wipes? Things like that.
Sure.
What are they doing? Ask them, because some agents are doing things like that and some
Right.
don't.
And we offer to our sellers to either host traditional open houses, or if you're more comfortable, because we're so accustomed to doing live video tours here on our Facebook page, we offer like virtual open houses. It's a thing, it's in our MLS. People are doing it where we can be live, we can walk people through your home, and you only have to have your realtor in, instead of opening the door and the floodgates to your neighbors and potential buyers.
Yep.
And so yeah, I think that's a great question.
All right.
Number
So number
5,
5.
what do I need to do to get my home ready to sell? And this is you as a potential seller asking your potential realtor, what are your suggestions? What do you think I should do to get my home ready to sell? And I think that this is a really telling question. I feel like it'll tell you a lot about that agent, whether or not they have good suggestions, whether or not they have recommendations that are affordable and able to be done in short period of time, stuff like
Also,
that.
do they have the guts to actually tell you
Like, yo, your
the
mailbox is
honest
chipped up.
the honest truth about, you need to take your uh 17,000 silk plants
Right,
and relocate them or store them, because guess what? Pack them up, because you're going to be moving anyways.
right.
Will they tell you to take certain things
Will they
down?
tell you if they can smell your pets?
Correct.
That kind of stuff. I mean,
While it may not be what you want to hear, it's what you
right.
need to hear and need to know to make your home as desirable as possible to every potential buyer walking through the door.
We like to give people I've heard Jerry frequently give like a 1, 2, 3 plan, where it's like, if you want to do the absolute bare minimum, just like magic you take the photos of your family's faces down so they're not exposed in our 3D walkthrough, and magic eraser some fingerprints off a wall. If you want to go the next step, you could also, like, a brand new shower curtain, like you can invest $100 to $500 and like paint the lights, the what are they called, the garage lights are
Coach
always,
lights.
paint your coach lights black. It costs a gallon and it'll take you a weekend, gallon of paint. And put a new mailbox in and put some flowers in front in that planter and pull your weeds. And then he'll give you like, oh, if you redid the kitchen, which currently has white appliances, you can probably get X amount. So see if your realtor has any, or potential realtor has any suggestions on. Jerry can usually go and say, like, if you put this $100 an hour into it, it'll probably raise you up this much. If you go to the second step, it would cost you $500 and you could probably get this much out of it more. Or if you do this, then you could probably get he'll let you make the choices.
Yeah, it
And
depends on what and your agent needs to be well versed in what the stuff costs, because
right,
otherwise they're just throwing numbers out there.
right.
We've got enough experience in the construction industry and done enough upgrades and rehabs and stuff like that we know what these things cost, and we have people that can do it for you. So,
well, and I want to add on to that, because I know that there's a lot of newer realtors. There's a lot of people who don't do as much business at us because they either do it part-time or just for family and friends. We're not suggesting, and we're going to get to the experience question in a minute, but we're not suggesting that if they don't know, like Jerry Niesman knows everything, right? He always blows my mind with like, yo, exactly how much is like stainless steel new appliances if you go here versus here, and somehow he knows it all. But not everybody does, and that's okay. But always in the interview with your potential listing agent, make sure that they have the strength and wherewithal to say, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to leave, I'm going to find out that information, and I'm going to get back to you with accurate details. You don't want people who will just say anything to get you to sign a contract or to list your home. Make sure you're working with people that you can trust and trust in the process.
yep.
All right,
All right,
what's number 6?
let's see.
I don't know. They're out of order. Who did this?
What did
Oh,
you do?
who is your team / who else can I expect to be communicating with? So teams are a thing. Tell us about the teams while I type the question. We're a team.
We are a team, not just us.
Not just us. We're just the face.
So there
But
are.
we're probably not even the best parts of the team. Let me tell you, our transaction coordinator, if she, you're good too. We're pretty good at what we do. But our transaction coordinator, we would die without her. I don't know if you're on here, if you ever listen, but we love you and
She watches sometimes.
all right.
So, who is the team? Are you a single agent?
Yep.
Which there's pros and cons to both single agents and teams. Or there can be. There's not always, but are you a single agent? So I'm going to deal 100% with you throughout the entire process. And what are you doing?
Oh no, I hit the wrong button. Okay, I'm fine. All right, sorry. Yes.
We almost ended our video.
I would have been so sad.
So who do what happens if you get sick? What happens if you take a vacation? Who's helping you out? Who's backing you up? And for single agents, I mean, that can be somebody else in their brokerage that they have
it could be
an
their
agreement
broker.
with. It could be their broker. It could be, who knows? It could be anybody. But just, is there, how does that work? What is that process? Or if it's a team, like we have, for example, you have me, who's the lead agent. You have Rachel, who handles all of our marketing stuff. We have our transaction coordinator, who handles once we go under contract, she takes over, and then you communicate with her to get you to the closing table.
And then afterwards, I take back over. So I handle everything before somebody becomes a client and then after they've closed with us. So like client care, customer service. So plus you might need to communicate with our photographer. We have a title and mortgage
inspector,
people,
title company,
yep,
lenders.
They're all part of our team, and you should ask who is part of your team. Who do you have these people in your corner to back you up?
And we have other agents that work with us as well.
Yeah.
So there's, right now there's 3 other agents that work with us also. So who are they? How will you be communicating with them? How will that, if there are other people, how is that agent going to make sure that they know what's going on?
Correct.
How does all that process work?
All right. I think that's a good question.
What else? Number 7.
So number 7 is, glance at my sheet. What is your experience / how many homes have you sold in the area? I think it's important to ask.
Sure.
It's not everything. And I put it all the way towards the end of the list. It doesn't need to be the first point of conversation, but you should ask them. And every single realtor in Southwest Florida, every single realtor everywhere has their first home that they sold. We do. We know who they are. We send you Christmas cards. But how many homes have you sold in the area, and what is your experience? So why is that important?
Jay, you're not getting her.
Oh God, Jay, I'm so expensive. You have no idea. Oh gosh, you have no idea how expensive I am. So how many homes why is it important to even know this information?
Well, I mean, because it speaks to their experience. It doesn't necessarily speak to the quality that you get or the attention to detail that you get.
Right.
I mean, I know there's plenty of realtors all over the country that have plenty of clients that have worked with them and then weren't happy with them.
Right.
So it's not everything, but it definitely speaks to the experience and the knowledge that they have.
Right.
The key to making a client happy is not necessarily the knowledge and experience, it's the communication.
Right. I mean, there's pros and cons. If you go to somebody who is a single agent and you're the 17th listing he has right now, and he's got a bunch, and we'll get to that, he's got a bunch sitting on the market that he can't get sold, that's not necessarily better than working with a newer agent who has one other home that's listed and is ready to dedicate 50% of their working hours to you. That's not necessarily a downside. As I know we've geared away to the A and 7A, 7B, but I would also like to say 7B, if there was a 7B, it would be if they're light on experience or amount of homes that the transactions that they've taken care of, who's in your corner, right? Who's your mentor? Who do you have to help? If you go into a multiple offer situation and you've never been in a multiple offer situation, who can you call and ask about that? We help other KW agents or other agents here around town. We always offer our voice. Do they have somebody in their corner? Do they have somebody who has their back? Are they at a broker that does it, like, is very hands off, and they have nobody to ask? And so I would put that as a 7B. No, gearing away from. Oh, it is going to end up 12 questions, isn't it? All right, so let's go. I think that's it. Number 8, please. If you're listening and have questions, I know I talk crazy fast. Please ask me to slow down or repeat something, and let us know if you have any questions. We are on our last question already. This has been fun today. 8.
What is your... How did you even write that?
He can't read my handwriting.
List price to sale price ratio and average days on market. So this usually comes from the more analytical people. You know, why go with you over somebody else? And ideally they should know what the difference is, or what their spread is. In a seller's market, sometimes it's positive. It could be. But are you selling? Are you normally, like, say we list it for $300,000? Are you normally getting 97% of that $300,000 list price, or are you normally getting 90%? Because there's a big difference in the money, in what that nets you as the seller, your bottom line. So talking to people, and obviously people that have sold more homes, there's a larger pool to pull from.
Right.
If they've sold one home and they got 100%, well,
sure,
cool. But that's not a big, that's not a big data set to pull from. So, but it's good to know. It's good information to know. Is the current market in my area bringing 95%, bringing 97%, bringing 110%?
Right.
And so what is my area doing, and versus what are you doing, and what are you doing in my area? If you work a lot in my area, are you bringing that number up, or are you dragging it down?
And can I just say, this is also important. Oh man, are we going to go to an 8B? This is going to end up 12 questions.
Well, you kind of already have an 8, because you got list price to sale price ratio and average days on market.
Oh gosh. I would say that this is particularly important if you're willing to ask. I know that there's a lot. What are they called? Discount broker? I don't know. What is it? The people who will sell your house for 1% kind of deal. If you're gonna ask a listing agent how much they typically charge, what are the fees to list your home?
Listing with Redfin or something like that, where like they charge a lower commission.
The question
but what do they get you?
Right. If you ask them this question, if you're considering going to a discount agent,
it's not discount.
I don't know. Say it. Tell me what it is. I don't know.
It's just they charge a lower fee than what I charge. Everybody's allowed to charge whatever they want.
I
could charge $500, but then it wouldn't be worth my time.
Right. As you gather that information, also gather the information of what is their list price to sale price ratio.
I couldn't, because our pictures cost more than that.
Yeah, I know. So ask them what that ratio is, how much they typically, and you may find that people who are willing to discount their commission to get as many listings as possible are more than willing to give up your money on how much the home is worth, and aren't necessarily trained and skilled negotiators or closers. Their entire job is bulk, and they just want you're just sometimes become a number. We need to have this, and we don't care, because we're just going to get 1 million of them, and it's going to be okay, and we'll just give the farm away. And so ask them that question. Ask everybody that question. These are all great questions.
Yep.
What else?
That's it. That's 8.
Okay, so I know that's 8. I have one last statement.
11 and a half, 12, I don't know.
I think we're at 13.
Are we at 13?
I think so. I think we're at 13. At the
You're going to
end
have
of
to
the
rename
day,
it when we're done.
at the end of the day, make sure you go with the people that you enjoy working with, though, too. Like, it's not, at the end of the day, you need to be glad to hear their voice, be happy to pick up the phone and call them and say, tell me the story. Pick people who are communicative, pick people who, so
The
one
number one complaint is communication.
Right.
Is that we didn't communicate, the agent didn't communicate with us enough.
Right.
So
Yeah.
make sure you like the way they communicate.
Yeah.
Make sure, I mean, it's basically, do you know, like, and trust them?
Know, like, and trust them. Yeah. And that'll all come out in the interview. If you ask all of these questions in addition to how much is my house worth, you're going to find out, you're going to find your listing agent. You're going to find somebody that you're happy with, that you enjoy working with, and go find them and call us now because we need houses to sell, please. If you, if you're thinking about putting your house on the market,
we have lots of buyers and
oh
not
my goodness,
a whole lot of,
homes
there's
to
not a
sell.
whole lot of homes out there.
And so let us know if you're thinking about it. We are happy to answer all of these questions. We went through them. When we were talking about them, we answered them kind of on behalf of the Niesman team as like, yes, we hire professional videography. And the answer to the question is yes, we will put out 30 open house signs. And yes, we will do custom signage. And yes, we do social media marketing. I mean, we have answers for all of these very quickly for you. If you want to call us, you can call us at 239-201-9583. I'm going to drop that. Why don't you give everybody else watching our other details?
So email is jerryniesman@gmail.
That's difficult.
What?
Jerry Niesman at Gmail.
Why is that difficult?
No, it's a joke.
My name. It's my name.
It's right there.
It's right there at the. It's right there.
Do
on the
I have
page.
to type in the .com?
Yes. You can check out our website at realpeople-realestate.com. Our business Facebook page, the Niesman Team at Keller Williams Realty. YouTube, the Niesman Team. There's like a million different ways to contact us.
Let us know.
Pick whichever one is your favorite. We respond to them all.
Yeah, we do. We're always here. We're always working. We're happy to answer these 8 questions more in depth, or use them as a template for you to interview the people who are interested with you. Hey, look, our website popped up. That was nice. Let's talk about next week.
What we got next week?
3 in a list of 5. Next week, we are talking about that first question, which is, how much is my house worth? We're going to tell you more in depth of how we come up with a valuation, how you can come up with a valuation on how much your home is worth-ish. And the following...
We're telling them that?
Uh-huh. We're real talk. That's what we do.
We're going to give away my professional secrets?
We're giving it all away. Yeah. We're giving it away. How much is our house worth? We're going to let you know how much your house is worth next week. Join us Tuesday live at 4. And join us Thursday, 4 p.m. live if you want a tour. We're trying to pick out cool, interesting, and exciting properties that we know that we have current clients that are interested in. Join us as we visit those homes and show them to our potential buyers. And then you can join along and walk along as well, see what Southwest Florida real estate is looking at right now. Live Thursday, 4 p.m., same place. And next week, we will see you for how much my house is worth. Just so you know what's coming over the next 3 weeks. We have 3 more weeks on geared towards our sellers. Next week is how much is my house worth? The following week is going to be how do I make my house worth more? What are some of those? Remember, Jerry brings in Rachel to be like, paint those coach lights. We're going to talk more in depth about what you can do right now if you're thinking about putting your house on the market. Cheap, inexpensive, fast things that you can do to kind of boost how much your house is worth. And the last one is going to be my personal favorite, the 5 biggest mistakes made by homeowners who are wanting to sell their home. And we're going to go over how you can have control over the selling process when you're working with your realtor. We hope you found this helpful today. I learned something. I learned that I'm really bad at counting questions.
So then the question becomes, the next question I have is 5 things that homeowners make when they want to sell their home. Is it really going to be 5 or are we going to have like 7?
I guess you'll have to tune in to see. So that's 3 weeks from now. So join us Thursdays and Tuesdays for our live videos here on Facebook Live. We hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see it in full, you can also check out our YouTube channel, or you can see it here. Just scroll back through Jerry's little profile on Facebook, and you can see his videos, home tours, things like that. And so that's it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
We'll see you later. I'm going to post
Rest of the week.
while we click the end live video. End.